Well, this was bound to happen. Too bad nobody warned anyone about this, but whatever. Welcome back to another Game Vault video. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and we're going to talk about Rocksteady today. And it looks like they got some layoffs going on over there. So, yeah, let's cue the music and we'll talk about this. So this is Paul Tassi from Forbes. Rocksteady reportedly starts layoffs after Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League failure. This was the big, what was it, a four-person shooter game. I think it was a co-op shooter where you got to play as various members of the Justice League, or the Suicide Squad, and fighting against the Justice League. Right from the start, from the very first time I saw a trailer for it, I was like, this doesn't look that great. It looked pretty generic and all that. And I remember that there was a lot of backlash for that initial trailer. A lot of people didn't like it. They said, or like, well, you know, it's goofy. Everything's purple, I think was one of the comments somebody made. The gameplay looked generically. Everybody's just using guns. There was no, like, character-specific weapons or powers, it seemed. You know, just guns. It's like, well, why even use the Suicide Squad and the Justice League for this? You could have just created a brand new IP. But not only that, the character designs were pretty bad. And yeah, they worked with Sweet Baby Inc. We all found out later on, which only made things worse because we all know Sweet Baby Inc. is a cancer in the gaming community, just like Black Girl Gamers, who blocked me recently. Ha ha ha, bitches. But yeah, yeah, we all know Sweet Baby Inc. is a cancer, and the cancer. What does cancer do? Cancer kills, and in this case, it killed the studio. Well, it's killing a portion of this studio. So it seemed like only a matter of time before a bomb as big as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would result in direct damage to Rocksteady. It was credited with a $200 million loss for the year. And now that has led to layoffs, which appear to be ongoing. Now this is a shame because the year prior, Warner Brothers brought in a big profit with, what was it, Hogwarts Legacy. You know, and this was a game that was also in the crosshairs, but for different reasons. You know, J.K. Rowling, her beliefs that women and men are different and they can't change into each other. I mean, yes, that right there got her boycotted by this weird, creepy, vocal minority of creeps on the internet. All these, I mean, and these people, man, holy cow, you should have seen them. They were quite the shit show. You know, but anyway, to make a long story short, you know, we all know boys are boys, girls are girls. If you're not sure how that works, go watch Kindergarten Cop. There's a little kid in there that explains it perfectly. So, anyway, that game made a big profit. Warner Brothers was sitting pretty. They released this game the following year, and womp, 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 big losses, right? Probably ate up most of the profit they made from Hogwarts Legacy, which is a shame for them, but, you know, it is what it is. When you play with fire, when you play with this woke garbage like this, you do get burned from it. And let me tell you, Hogwarts Legacy, had I known how woke it was, I probably wouldn't have bought it anyway. I bought it, you know, because I was like, this is pissing off the right people. Let me give it a shot. You know, it looks kind of fun. You know, I started looking into the gameplay and all that. I'm like, it looks kind of fun. You know, why not? Luke casting spells and be my own little Harry Potter dude. Yeah. But, yeah, then they had the trans bartender, which was really lame. I was like, oh, God. Creepy as hell. Even the name was like Serona something or other, Serona Ryan, I think. And people are picking that name apart, saying, hey, look, it's Sir like man and Ryan like Ryan. I'm like, whatever, guys. Nothing's going to make you happy. And then if you looked at the cast of the school, you know, the students and the teachers and all that, it was like a Benetton commercial. You know, you had people from India and Africa and all over the place. And, you know, I get it. They were trying to make, like, the wizarding world bigger than it, you know, was portrayed in the movies and the books and all that, but still, this is Scotland in, like, what was it, the 1800s, I think? It just didn't feel right. It felt really, really weird. Like all those people from all over the world would be in Scotland in the 1800s. No, it's kind of like having a black samurai in feudal Japan. It's just weird, to quote Rachel Ziegler. That's one of their people. A new report from Eurogamer says that 18 QA workers out of 33-person team were laid off, with some further ones outside of there, including one staffer posting that they had been laid off during their paternity leave. Paternity leave? Okay. The exact number of layoffs is unknown, and Warner Brothers has not yet responded to requests for comment, as there has been no official announcement these layoffs are happening. Previously, there were reports that despite Suicide Squad, Rocksteady would not suffer layoffs due to Warner Brothers games being understaffed and needing assistance development on other current and future projects. But perhaps that work was finished, or this was always the plan after a certain amount of time, and there's no turning around window as Suicide Squad continues its live plans. Yeah, I think they've got 2 seasons out now, and each one worse than the one before. The first one released this awful rendition of the Joker. I mean, look at him on the screen there. It's just... the design of this thing is horrifying, and he comes off totally gay. And then you had the non-binary Mrs. Freeze come out for the second season, and she just looks like I can't even say it on YouTube. You know, just the hair, everything. It's just absolute garbage, the design of these characters. But Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was considered one of the biggest AAA failures in a generation, given its huge cost and extremely low player base shortly after launch. It may have just been surpassed by PlayStation's Concord, another hugely expensive venture that debuted with under 700 players on Steam. We've talked a lot about Concord. Suicide Squad had a terrible at the time 13,000 concurrents, but the live game, now currently in Season 2 of content, is not breaking 100 players most of the time on PC, and is obviously not selling on console. Wow. I mean, they're maintaining these games. This is the risk you take with live service, and this is why I pray these studios, you know, if they take enough hits in the live service department, that's going to be great, because they're going to be like, you know what, we're not chasing this trend anymore. You know, Fortnite, you can have your Fortnite money, we're done. We're moving on. Because, man, quite frankly, it just seems like a money sink half the time, and I don't know. You know, and then you slap on top of it that... you know, you throw the DEI crap on top of it and something like Suicide Squad, and it's going to turn off a certain amount of a potential player base, you know, that you could have. People are going to be like, no. And then you do these awful character designs and gender swaps and all that, which is more DEI-related crap. It's just worse and worse and worse, and it strays further and further from the actual product that or the IP that you're using here. And then people who like the IP are like, well, this isn't really what I like, you know. It's Mr. Freeze isn't Mrs. Freeze, you know, the Joker isn't gay. Why am I playing this game? These characters aren't even true to themselves. Harley Quinn is, you know, not the sexy Harley Quinn. She's kind of dumpy now, and even makes fun of the fact that she doesn't dress like that anymore. It's just really weird. Anyway, many have wondered why Suicide Squad is continuing live development at all, like me, but it appears there's some ongoing promise to get out at least the first year of content to players, where Season 3 brings Zoe Lawton to the game, and Season 4 has Deathstroke. They're going to probably put a lot of eggs in the basket for Deathstroke, and it's just going to be another fail. There are also heavy hints that Rocksteady's OG Batman will be resurrected and continue to have a role in a story that is not now going nowhere. This is the biggest shame of it all, is that they had to kind of set this in that Arkham universe type thing, right? And I don't know if they're pulling from a multiverse type thing or whatever to get these weird iterations of these characters like Miss Freeze and stuff. But it's not working. You know, it's absolutely not working. Anyway, the layoffs may be expected, but they are still maddening given that it's QA that's suffering, when it was reported studio leadership that pushed for the live Suicide game to a point where even the devs at the company were baffled by some of the choices. But as is usually the case in the industry, leadership only rarely pays the price for heading in the wrong direction. And this is true. This is a bone of contention that's very valid, right? So there's a lot of blame to be laid here. I think anybody whose hands touch this game, you know, and gets fired, there's justification to it. Whether or not you agreed with the choices and all that, maybe you should have spoke up more. You know, maybe you should have refused, quit your job, and gone and worked somewhere else that doesn't pander to this garbage, especially if you don't believe in it, right? If something goes against your core values and your core beliefs, and you still do it, what does that make you as a human being? You know, I had issues at my job with being forced to take the jab a couple years back, and it got to a point where my job was threatened, and I needed my job. I had it was a good job, and I needed that job, and I couldn't just go on the streets because of that. But I fought it. And I fought it as hard as I could, and I ended up winning because I stood on my principles and I stood up for what I believed in. But I was willing to lose that job over that because I did not believe in the jab. I believe that it was just such a deeply ingrained feeling in me to not do this that I felt like if I would have sold out, for the dollar, I would have suffered in the end. So I'm glad I didn't do it to this day. It could have gone differently. I could have ended up, losing the job, and who knows what would have happened. Well, looking for a job in your 50s is not an easy task. Nobody wants to do that. You should be kind of set by then and cruising through life towards retirement and all that, but whatever. But if you're a developer and you're working on a game like that and these people are pushing this garbage, you got to push back, or you got to leave that company and go work for somebody who's not pushing that crap. They're out there, and we're going to see more and more of them. This has been a huge year in the battle against this garbage in gaming, right? Games like Concord coming out, less than 700 players. Games like Dustborn never broke 100 players. That's absolute garbage. This kind of stuff going on. It's just more and more. Everything that gets released that has this DEI touch to it, this Sweet Baby Inc. or Black Gamer Girls involved in it, or I forget what the other one was called. There's so many of these companies out there now. All these games are suffering. They're losing money, and people are trashing them left and right. And it's going to continue. Star Wars Outlaws taking a beating. They're saying that that's not meeting expectations. And I guarantee you Assassin's Creed Shadows is also not going to meet sales expectations. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a really tough road for them. And everyone who loses a job on it, but you participated in putting out this garbage, hey, I'm sorry you lost a job. That sucks. Nobody wants to be out of work. And that does suck. My heart goes out to you to some degree, but maybe if you would have stood up a little harder, talked to some of your other, fellow developers and all that, and stood together and said, look, bro, this is not going to work. And, even if, we don't want to do this, it's not going to work. Maybe they'd listen. Maybe that you wouldn't be, out on the street looking for a job. I don't know. Maybe they would have just fired you on the spot and then put it out, and then it wouldn't have worked, and you've already found another job by now, and you could call up your old boss and be like, dude, remember when we had this conversation? Yeah, suck it. Click. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Let me know what you think in the comments down below about Rocksteady losing some people like that. I feel bad. This is one of those once great developers that now they're just kind of falling to the wayside, this studio, because of this type of garbage. And unless, I don't know, I guess you could always get back to your roots and go back to doing what you do well and all that, but is it too little too late? Who knows? Will Rocksteady continue to bleed personnel until they get absorbed into another company or disbanded completely? You hope not, but you never know. So, I'll see you guys next time. Like I said, don't forget to leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications. The war on DEI continues, and we're going to stay here on the front lines. I'll see you next time. Until then, peace.